The letter no one was supposed to find. Why would a 17-year-old girl write a letter she never intended to send? Among the folded pages found beneath the floorboard of Elena Marlow's sealed room, one letter stood apart from the rest. Not because of what it said at first glance, a handful of ordinary teenage sentences about the weather, about wanting to leave Salt Cove one day, about missing a friend who'd moved away, but because of the name written at the very bottom, beneath her signature, circled twice in the same blue ink. Ask, Art, he knows what Dad did. No error appears anywhere in Elena's original 2004 police statement. No R appears in her school records, her family's contact list, or any of the 60-some interviews conducted during the initial search. For 20 years, this person, whoever they were, existed nowhere in the official record of Elena Marlow's disappearance. Detective Grant Ellery has now spent 3 weeks trying to identify who R might be. His working theory, laid out carefully in his notes, is not comforting. In every cold case I've handled where a victim leaves behind a coded reference like this, it's not because they were being cryptic for fun. It's because they were afraid of who might read it first. The letter is undated, but forensic paper analysis places it within the final 6 weeks before Elena vanished, the same window in which, according to a source close to the investigation, her parents' marriage had visibly deteriorated. Neighbors interviewed for the original file described raised voices from the Marlow house late at night. At the time, this was treated as a private family matter, unrelated to the disappearance. It has never been treated as unrelated again. Thomas Marlow, when shown a redacted portion of the letter by investigators, reportedly went silent for nearly a full minute before answering. His response, according to Ellery's notes, "I don't know who R is. I swear I don't. But I know Elena wouldn't write something like that unless she meant it." Literally, ask R, he knows what Dad did, not what happened. Not what's wrong. What Dad did, a specific act, known to at least one other person, deliberately kept outside the family's carefully maintained silence. The Marlow patriarch, Walter Marlow, died 11 years ago, before the case was ever reopened. He was never formally questioned about the contents of this letter, because the letter did not exist officially until 3 weeks ago. Which means the one man who might have answered the question at the center of Elena's final written words is no longer able to. But R might still be. The production team's own research, cross-referencing old Salt Cove School enrollment records from that period, found exactly one student whose name begins with that letter and who had any documented connection to the Marlow family, a boy named Robert Aldis, who worked part-time at the Harbor Authority office the same summer Elena disappeared, the same office where the Lighthouse logbook, missing its one critical page, was kept. Robert Aldis left Salt Cove less than a year after Elena's disappearance and has not been located by the investigation as of this filming. Whether he left because of grief, coincidence, or something closer to consequences for now, the single most urgent question driving the reopened case forward. Detective Ellery's closing note on this discovery reads simply, "We have a name in her own handwriting, connected to the one location tied to the missing evidence." If Robert Aldis is still alive, he may be the only person left who can tell us what Walter Marlow did, and why an entire town has spent 20 years making sure nobody asked. For the first time since this investigation reopened, the file no longer centers only on where Elena went. It centers on what her own father may have done, and on one name, written twice, that Salt Cove has never once said out loud.